welcome in everybody, wherever you are, however you may be listening. This is your Wednesday wrap-up. And, of course, I'm here with my man, Herb. How's it going, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. So I was reading about some of these rule changes we may or may not talk about. I was like, okay, so
Yep.
checking out the different stuff, man.
Happening with?
What up, Title? That's my boy, Title Towel. What are you doing, sir? Roll Tide.
Yeah. So we got to kick this thing off with Eberflus finally fired, right? We've only been trying to get this guy fired since last year. So it finally comes through. This 22 head coaching class is amazing. And I don't think the firings are done yet. So I would bet money that Peterson, you know what? I take that back. I don't know what the Jags are doing.
Yeah.
I guess
don't know that they know either.
Weeks ago.
Yeah. First off, I guess the first question is, how much influence did you have in the Eberflus firing? Since you have been clamoring for that one for a while.
Oh, all of it. All of it. Yeah.
And then, Brian Daboll's already been said that he's able to stick around for another year. So I guess the Giants are just kind of I feel like they just try to lay that one all at Daniel Jones' feet and say everyone else has done a fine job somehow.
So do you think Daboll is like McCarthy in the way that it's just ownership lip service because they're not ready to fire him today, and if you say they're not coming back, you have to fire him right then?
Right. I could see that. I said, I'm not a Giants fan, so I don't kind of watch the day to day. But I didn't like his body language and decision making last year.
For sure.
I was already all out on him. So especially take with a veteran like Tyrod Taylor, and you're embarrassing him on the sidelines. I don't like stuff like that. So I was already out with him despite the football stuff out there. But, I haven't seen anything from him make me say, let's bring him back. And if you're going to lean fully into the rebuild finally, why not start over with a new coach? But why drag along a coach from the previous, failings? If you got off the Daniel Jones thing, you're finally ready to hit the button, just do the whole thing. But the GM's got to go too. I feel like this is a package deal. He's really the one that set this team up for failure. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, and if you say you bring Daboll back and you draft somebody and it doesn't work year one, are you just doing what the Bears have done the last 3 times?
Yeah.
Where you're ultimately going to fire him after a year, stunt the growth of your new quarterback?
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, it just, I don't know. Bad franchises continue to make bad decisions.
Yep.
So, I mean, this is the 3rd time the Bears have done it in a row. Sure, kind of looks like the Giants are going to do something similar. So if you're a Giants fan, you're going through it. Jags fans are going through it. I still can't wrap my head around how Peterson is still employed. I mean, if I were the one, if I was the GM there, I should say, soon as they got smacked by the Lions, Peterson isn't coming back. He's not even on the same airplane as the team. It's just you know what? We got beat by 50. We got 2 weeks to get our guy up to speed. Enjoy these free paychecks because we're winning the same whether you're here or not.
Basically, yeah. The only thing I can think with the Peterson one, which I don't agree with because I think it's time to go. But this would be Trevor Lawrence's 3rd coach in his short career if you do get rid of Peterson. So
sure.
But that's all I got.
That's like chasing a bad bet, though.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I
don't want to bet on that because I already have this loser. So if I put more money here, maybe it'll work. Newsflash, that never works.
Never works.
0 times.
Yeah.
You just lose money.
I think it's. I mean, for the Jags, you're in honestly a good position because you have your franchise guy. So you go into this next draft with a lot of holes. Let's say you get a really high draft pick. Well, one guy is not going to fix what you want anyway. You trade back, you get some more capital, and you try to plug more holes. I mean, if you've already got your guy, but you can't just keep riding this out with Peterson because he's not going to be a trade back guy. Well, let's get one more thing and try to move forward from here. And it's just I don't know. It's like you said, chasing bad money here. Let's go ahead and just reset this thing and. You've got what you think is
the whole defense.
Yeah. And that's why I say get more stuff from it, because the offense, you've got enough pieces on offense probably to make this work. So,
oh, no doubt. No doubt. And I mean, at this point, now that Lawrence is out, right? He's at least going to miss another week or so, right? So, I mean, at this point, if you were going to make wholesale changes like that, might as well pull the trigger on it, right? You're not going to win more games now.
Right.
Because
I wouldn't bring him back either, by the way. I don't see the point in that.
Yeah. You roll with your backup. You let him sit out the rest of the year. Like, there's not a lot left. You're not playing for anything. If anything else, you're trying to lose. Right. So, no player will tank, but organizations can definitely set the team up to not win.
Yes. Yes.
So
and fans don't like it, but that's just part of it. Some of it is good business. So
for sure. Well, especially in a situation like this, right, where your starter is down, there's really no need to risk some of your other pieces. See what you have depth-wise.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I mean, you're still trying to win games, but you're also not shocked when you don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Your buddy with the Jag, Travis, was already talking about this. He's mad that the coaches brought him back anyway when he was already hurting. Like, I guess it was a non-throwing shoulder or whatever, but he's already banged up, and they brought him back for this one. Like, again, what is the point? You're not – A, you really should have been in the game with the Texans, but that's a whole other story. But B, you don't need to – like, winning an extra game or two right now does you zero. So, like you said, take a look at your backup, see what other pieces you have, and let's get ready for next year.
Yeah, well, I mean, and Lawrence already beat up. That makes you think that Peterson's like, hey, maybe we can win a few games down the stretch here, maybe save my job.
And that's exactly what it looks like.
And who knows? Maybe the Jags are weird enough that this injury, he can be like, oh, but my quarterback was hurt, and save his job somehow. I don't think that's how it should go down, but we've seen weird stuff. Eberflus and Dennis Allen last year. So,
except they didn't win a couple games to save their jobs. They just somehow saved their jobs. Like, I never understood those. Dennis Allen, every Saints fan, and you don't always listen to fans. I get it.
Yep.
But there's not been a single Saints fan defending him for like 3 years. Usually you find one who's like, oh no, he did this well. Everyone's like, no, there's 0%.
Yeah, there was no redeeming factor, especially when you looked at the roster, because that roster should have been good. Like, you look at it, you're like, oh yeah, that's a playoff team, and then you watch them play, and you're like, are they just bad at football?
Yeah. Like, did they just meet in the parking lot right before the game?
There is no continuity here.
No,
and that was the Eberflus thing. It's like, how do you get everybody fired and then keep your job somehow?
Yeah.
Man, it was just the thing that's funny is I think he actually could have still been the coach if he didn't come out in that next morning press conference and say, we did exactly the right thing.
Yeah.
Like, you can't have film that shows you just waste 32 seconds and miss the opportunity to even tie the game, and then double down and be like, yeah, no, we did the right thing. It's like, no, 100% you didn't do the right thing, man.
Yeah.
Like, that's what
you can't lose a game by running out of time and still have a timeout. Like, that's and you've got a rookie quarterback. It's the coach's job to come up and protect that guy. It could have been 1,000% Caleb Williams' fault, right? That's fine. But you can call a timeout on the side. Like, there are things you could do. You could have called the timeout.
Right? Like, as soon as
you have to be the guy.
Off, you should have been doing this as a coach. Be like, hey, clearly there is confusion.
Yes. You cannot lose the game by running out of time and have a timeout left. It's not even an unwritten rule. That's in stone. Like, hey, here you go, guys. Hey, you still have a timeout? Okay, there is no way to end the game. Like, that's just not even possible. And
then, some of it obviously is on Caleb, right? Caleb checks out of whatever it was into what it sounded like it was a running play, and then checked out of that into a deep route. And you're just like, okay, well, neither of those plays made any sense. Like, I don't know why you would have called that by yourself. I mean, if you've ever watched football or played Madden, right, you're like, hey, let me throw an out route real quick to try and get 5 yards and stop the clock.
Yes.
This is not rocket science.
Actually did this earlier this year just to set up a Hail Mary. It's the same thing to set up the field goal. Okay.
Yeah.
Do the same play. Like,
right?
it's just
like
not, yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, what ultimately gets him fired? Because this is the first time the Bears have fired a coach mid-season ever, right? Which, way to blaze a new trail. But I mean, you can't come out and say, yeah, we did everything right. I mean, that is absolutely that was the final nail in the coffin, right? Like, that's absolutely what got you fired.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, I don't expect you to throw your rookie quarterback under the bus. You go in the locker room and you talk to him and you tell him whatever, right? You come out to the thing and say, yeah, we totally messed that up. That's on me. I'm the head coach. And we're like, okay, little respect. You took responsibility. But yeah, don't tell anybody, hey, running out of time was the plan. Because then we're like, this explains a lot about your coaching style. So
yeah, right. I understand why we lose so much.
The plan was just to keep it close so we could say we took the best team in the league to a close game. That's what it was.
Right? Like, it didn't make any sense.
No.
And of course, since we were talking about Lawrence a little bit, that was one of the other things I definitely wanted to talk about was Ajir coming in and, was it a little bit of a late slide? Sure. Right. But coming in forearm first into the face, there's some malintent there. Yeah. And, obviously a 3-game suspension gets levied across. Not exactly his first case of stuff like this. So, I kind of like the 3-game suspension for him. I would imagine the fine that's coming through is somewhere in the, $100,000 range.
Yeah.
But there is let me find it. I thought I had it. Thought I had it up. But there's a clip. Where'd it go?
I happened to be, I guess it was on Red Zone watching that one, and it popped up, and I was like, I get the whole slide part, but it's a quarterback. He's protected. You know what's about to happen.
Oh, for sure.
Even with a little late slide, I've seen where guys dive over the guy or do whatever. There was some ill intent on that one.
Yeah.
And there's just no way I could defend it, And I had a couple people posted, oh, man, it was a late, he slid a little late. Nah, man, flip it around. If that was your quarterback, would you still say the same? No, we'd all be talking about that guy need to be kicked out. So, that's when I hate when people try to defend it that way. So you're saying if and I love D'Amico Ryans, Alabama guy, and I know you want to try to back your guy, whatever. But if that happened to C.J. Stroud, are you saying the first thing you would say, but well, C.J. slid a little late? No,
not a chance.
Not a chance. So just don't say stuff like that if you're not okay with it happening to your guy. Okay, it was a vicious hit. It looked terrible in regular speed. It looked even worse in slow motion. The suspension was well deserved.
Well, and so this is the part that was funny about it. Finally found the quote. So NFL VP of football operations, John Runyon, right? Now, if you remember back, Runyon was kind of a dirty player also, right? So it's not like he was the cleanest player ever. But his quote is, "Your lack of sportsmanship and respect for the game of football and all those who play, coach, and enjoy watching it is troubling and does not reflect the core values of the NFL." Mm. That's coming from a guy that played kind of dirty.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is not a good look. So, a 3-game suspension, I like. Obviously, Lawrence going down is unfortunate. At the same time, like you said, I don't think he should play another snap.
No. I've always, like, a rule that'll never take place, ever. But when you hurt a guy, I'd like you to not be able to come back till they come back. It's just, obviously it'll never take, and you can't, if if I break a guy's arm and he's out for months, like I can't sit out months. I get that,
Well,
especially like I'm thinking more basketball, I guess, than football sometimes. But
and that is, I guess, a little bit different too. Like if you hit a guy and stuff happens, probably shouldn't. If it's an illegal hit,
right,
then sure. Like I could see something like that.
yeah.
I mean, even though it's probably not the intent, although some of these guys hit in a way where you're like, you're trying to hurt people.
Right,
But,
right. And then that would be the thing, trying to figure out intent. And I guess my example was more based basketball, because I forget the Bulls guy, but like a year ago he got hit like that. Or I remember Cheney back in the day with Temple sent a goon out there to hurt somebody and he broke the guy's arm. So and he admitted to sending a goon. You know what I mean? I'm thinking situations like that, but it'll never happen. But it just doesn't seem fair that you take a shot at a guy like that and then maybe you're back and they miss the rest of the year or something. You know what I mean?
I think if you were doing that, Draymond Green would have played 2 full seasons.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it's funny because when we were talking about this, he's the first person that came to mind, because you're like, he's got a history. These guys get all mad because they're like, oh, they're targeting me. No, you're targeting you. Like if you didn't have a history, we wouldn't go after you. It's like you're in the Batman universe and somebody dies and they die with a smile on their face. They go, I wonder who that is. It's like you've built up a history. So now we're looking for it. Okay. So when you decide to turn around and whack somebody with your fist, we're going, yeah, he punched him. There's no benefit of the doubt. So,
well, especially because you also have 13 camera angles of,
yes.
You're like, no, I feel like that was a punch.
Yeah.
I've seen one before.
Yes.
It looks just like that.
Yes. And that's not a natural motion. Nobody else turns around like this with the closed fist and just does that. That's not go through your weeks and think about how many times you've actually done that on accident. So no.
Yeah, 0 times. 0 times. Anytime, I've swung a fist, it's been on purpose.
Yes. You know what I mean? So
it's weird. It doesn't just like, oh, what happened? So one thing funny with the Lions that happened this week, Jamar Gibbs takes a picture of the abbreviated play calls and puts it on Instagram. I mean, I swear these people's agents need to take their social media away, or they need like a team or something, because I feel like it's almost every week somebody's posting some dumb stuff that either hurts them or their team, or you're just like, man, social media is not that hard.
No. It takes, because we all have our stuff. It takes a minute to actually post stuff, and they always ask you questions. And do you want to do this? There is no accidental, I'm looking at you, Shannon Sharp. There is no accidental, I put something on social media, but it reminds me of the Mike Tomlin thing where he's had a couple of his speeches, streamed live or whatever out there. I'm like, it used to be, obviously there wasn't phones back in the day, but it used to be a spot where that was like, sacred. Whatever you said in there stayed in there. Now guys are like, oh, let's just post this for the world to see. Like,
yep.
Come on, Gibbs. And you're a Bama guy, you're just embarrassing me now. Okay.
That's the real issue, right?
That's like, you don't know. We defend our guys, but when you do something stupid, we're all just like, please,
couldn't you have went to Auburn?
I mean, I don't even understand how that's a thing. What was the post supposed to prove? Like that you're on the team? Like we didn't know that? Oh, you really do play for them.
Well, and the picture wasn't even of him. I forget who he took a picture of offhand, but he was taking a picture of somebody else in front of it. I don't know why I'm mind blanking their receiver.
Oh, Jameer Jefferson?
Yes. Yeah, Jefferson. So
I don't know who that is, though.
No, but like he was taking a picture of the guy.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know who the post says it's a running back, and I'm like, I don't know who that is. And I guess Dan Campbell actually ended up laughing it off, but it doesn't make any sense because it says Lions running back.
The presser. So during the He's like, oh,
Like, I'm not sure if he's finishing the thought or.
there we go. Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be that kind of day, I think. Man,
I was like, I don't want to cut him off. But
no. Yeah, it's just going to be a weird day, right? But no, so he actually, similar to what my stream just did, it cut him. He cut the thing short and and left the press conference because he's just like, oh man, thanks for telling me. I got to look into that, right? And so they got some work to do because obviously you're not going to use any of those phrases,
right?
So
thanks a lot, Gibbs.
Yeah, right. Like all of the things that you were laying out there now have to change. So it was a running back. Okay. Like I didn't know that. I thought it was like a third string receiver or something. But yeah, okay. So one of the running backs, but still, I mean, you can't put that stuff out there.
Yeah. Well, and it was not to insult the guy. It was like a practice squad running back. So you're just taking a picture of the guy. Like I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. So
what's happening, Nick? What you think? They're you think they got it right?
I mean, obviously, I'm fine with it. It's hilarious to me that there's 12 spots and everybody's focused on the one. And we said this would happen. Like, unless you guys are really worried about someone coming from the 11th spot to win the whole thing, people should really just be concerned. Do they think that 1 through 8 is fine? Yeah. But nobody cares about 1 through 8. Everyone has decided 11 is the spot to argue. So, like, if you're going to argue me versus, Miami, I'm fine with us. So, I know we got some bad losses, but our strength of schedule is much better and our wins are probably much better. So,
that's the thing is we all knew Bama was going to find a way in, even at a 3-loss. The thing that's funny about it is the teams that are mad, you're far enough down, win more games, right? Yeah. Like last year when it was Florida State and they're undefeated, I get the outrage, right? Because you had they had a better record than other teams. They felt like they should get a shot. This year, if you're concerned about the 10th or 11th spot, you needed to win more games. Simple as that. So, it's like when when players get mad because the other team run up the score. Well, if you don't want them to score or you don't want them to plant the flag in the middle of your field, win. Like stop them. So I never feel bad about that. I've been on the positive and the negative side of a blowout. And, it just is what it is. Like if somebody beats you down, or in this case, they get a spot that you felt like you should have been able to get, well, you shouldn't have been a 2-loss team.
Yeah. We said this before, man. If you were at the 12, 13, 14 spot, then your argument just wasn't that big. So, I'm sorry.
Well, and what they're expanding it next year anyway, right? It's going to be 14 teams.
Yep.
And inevitably,
the 15th
that 13th spot, somebody's going to lose their mind because somebody with 14 spots, you potentially have multiple 3-loss teams.
Yep.
And there will be some 2-loss team out of some unknown conference that we should be in there. It's like, yeah, but you played one school that was decent, probably wasn't even good.
Well, and that's the thing that everyone is okay skipping over. It's like in the past, people have gotten on to Alabama about strength of schedule, even though it was high because they focused on one bad game. But then the whole Big Ten has had, Penn State played one tough team, Ohio State lost, Indiana played one tough team, Ohio State lost. And everybody seems to be okay with the rest of their schedule being terrible. I think Indiana's strength schedule was like in the hundreds maybe. So all these teams with terrible strength of schedules this year, we were okay with it. It's like, just say what you really want to say. Hey, we hate Bama, which is fine. Like we're the villains of the college football world, and we're fine with that. People hate us. Like, you just learn to embrace it after a while. If you're not hated, then people just don't care about you. So,
if you don't have some hate, it means you haven't done anything.
Yes,
right.
So
and I agree with this. Ohio State should have had some of that energy during the game. Like it's,
We talked about that last night. That was terrible.
Yeah.
That was terrible. And what they tried to do was prove that they had a running game when the passing game, you've got way better wide receivers and a lot of money going into them. Stop proving you can run up the middle. You can't do it. It's fine.
It's something that you see not, obviously in college, but also in the pros where you're just like, okay, there's things you do well. Why are you getting away from what you do well? Is it like you trying to prove a point? Like, make them stop what you do well. And then if they do, then prove that you can do other things. But until they stop you, just do what works. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Nick, I feel, I'm conflicted on this because if you win your conference championship, it absolutely makes a difference. Right. And so losing has to also, right. You can't have it both ways. You can't be like, oh, well, I'm the conference champion, so now I get to be in, but, oh, I lost, that loss doesn't count. Like, I get it on its face because maybe a team that doesn't win their or doesn't get into the championship game, maybe they get in because the other team lost their championship game. Like, I get the semantics of it, but you can't have it where it does help one team and then it doesn't hurt the other. Like that.
Well, so here's where I'll disagree with a little. Tennessee and Georgia are both 10-2, right?
Sure.
Georgia's going to the conference championship game and Tennessee isn't. And Georgia also beat Tennessee. If Georgia loses to get to 10-3, I don't think they'd have to drop below Tennessee because now what you're saying is the conference championship wasn't worth going to. If Tennessee gets to move above Georgia because of that, I don't like that situation. And that's why there was a lot of teams, like let's say Bama had won, and I think we would end up in the SEC championship. So let's say Bama had won one more game, right? We're at 10-2, sure. Tennessee's at 10-2, Georgia's at 10-2, right? Bama loses the SEC championship. They fall below Georgia and Tennessee because they have the third loss, even though they have the same number of wins. Mm-hmm. If you penalize the team that goes, then you're saying you should have missed the SEC championship game. So I love how every week we're at the exact same time, but every week it's Herb told me 8:15 or different times. Right. So, like, Raj, one reason why I love you is because the excuses are getting creative every week. So I appreciate you. All right. And I apologize. I will text you next time we go on just to make sure you're here.
Yeah, just make sure you text him late. Like, schedule the text.
Yeah. So.
And I don't think he's gone. I mean,
no.
It's only a 3-loss team with a team that did move some pieces, right? They didn't bring back a full strength team.
Yeah.
And you changed coaching, which always disrupts stuff.
Yeah.
So for you to still be a 9-win team like that, it's not bad. Like, you guys are spoiled a little bit.
Thank you.
But you need to calm down.
That's my problem. So the people that were like, we need to fire DeBoer middle of this year, right? My whole thing was, okay, let's say we did that, right? Who is going to go to the school that just tried to replace their legend and fired the guy halfway through? The next guy has no leash either, right? And here's the problem. Here's why everybody's like, he should get fired.
What's that do to your recruiting?
Yes. You're going to lose a whole lot of stuff. Anybody can enter the transfer portal, then you're going to have more turnover. He didn't get to bring a full coaching staff with him. He had to piece together the whole defensive staff. The offensive coordinator that he wanted, you guys took from him. So he had to bring in a whole nother guy. Like, everyone's acting like he took the whole Washington thing and came here. No, that's not what happened either. He had to piece together some Bama people, people from outside.
Huh? He did try to move the whole team down.
He did, yeah. But it just didn't work out, So he's throwing stuff together. He lost a couple pieces. He had to transfer in a couple pieces. And I think there's some stuff that people don't realize. Like, everybody's like, oh, he had the talent that Saban had. It should have been just as good. Well, he also had the problems that Saban had that he had to deal with. And guess what? Those problems were so bad that Saban looked around and said, I think I'm going to retire rather than do this with you guys for one more year. And everybody, like, glosses over that. But the biggest fact is, you fire that man after 1 year. Let's say a committee doesn't let us in the playoffs, right? We fire him after 1 year. Who's going to come here? You're going to lose the whole coaching staff. You're going to lose him. You're going to replace all these people and expect next year to be better. You're going to destroy the recruiting class that he's put together because now all these people can do whatever they want. And you think next year is going to be better. Like, no, you're replacing the best coach of all time. If everyone
Well,
thought he was going to win the title in his first year, you're basically saying Nick Saban wasn't the best coach of every time it was easy to replace him. So
yeah,
no,
right. Exactly. Well,
I
I mean, realistically, if you were to do exactly what you were saying, right, where they fire all the coaching and destroy the recruiting class, you'd be lucky to make a bowl game, right? Like 500 would be the goal.
Yeah, yeah. Especially in the SEC with everyone else getting better. You know how quick your roster would get poached? There are people already coming after your roster right now. How much worse it will be when everybody has free reign. So,
well, no. and then the kids will also be like, you know what? I don't want to be here.
Right.
Like right now, it's still that storied franchise of like, okay, you know what? They got a new coach, but it's still a winning culture. I want to be there. It's Bama. I'm getting drafted. But if they blow all that up again inside of a year, it's like, yeah, you know, Texas is looking pretty good. Like,
yes. I don't think people realize how many choices are out there. People also don't realize the coaching carousel that happened after Stalin. Like Raj and I became fans in '94. Okay. We saw a lot of coaches come through. And I just think people just forget that whole era. And they went through 17 years of Saban. They're like, oh, things have been great forever. No. We had coaches that didn't even make it to the field. You know, I don't think they made it off the airplane. Okay. So, no. Exactly, Raj. That's my
like who do you even – yeah, like you go get Vrabel.
Yeah, like who would want to come here after that point? Yeah. So I don't know. I think guys think that we fired DeBoer. We just have the pick of the litter, and I think everybody would go, you know, there's other jobs I can keep and keep some security. Because if Bama fans are saying we got to win the title in the first year or the playoffs every year, like that's just the field is a lot more level now because you don't have as much depth as you used to, and it's been sapped every year. The best teams don't have guys backing up every position like you used to.
So if you were to fire DeBoer, right? Yeah. Say they did that. I don't have a good answer for who you'd hire, but say they did fire him. Does Ohio State move on from Day immediately?
Yes.
Right, and then go get DeBoer.
I would. They basically has to win the whole thing to keep his job, in my mind. Yeah. Because their record has helped them this year, but that's because they have overwhelming talent. But go talk, and this doesn't even come from me. I've a couple of Ohio State fans. I'm like, look, I don't watch you guys every time. We don't, always get your game. What do you think? It's like we look unprepared every single game. He's like, we start slow every single game. He's like, that's on the coaching. And then, like we said, this last game was a masterclass in bad coaching. So,
yeah,
I
mean, they didn't look like they were even that was exactly what a trap game looks like. Like they came in and looked like they were already looking at the playoffs.
Yep. But we all know that you cannot do that to your rival. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
if we had to go
out the window.
Yes. And that's the biggest cliche of sports, but it's so true. We had an Auburn guy on our podcast, and he was like, 2 years ago or 3 years ago, like, how did this team, stay with you guys? We had no business being on the same field. I was like, well, first off, it was at your place. Some voodoo happens when you're there. And, that was a game where our number one wide receiver decided to headbutt somebody in the first 2 minutes of the game and get kicked out for the whole game. And we did not have a lot of depth. I said, so yeah, stuff happens. You get one thing wrong in a rivalry game and boom. But none of that happened to Ohio State. Michigan was the person losing. I think their best player on both sides of the ball. They had no offense to speak of all year. Like you can't spend $20 million and lose that game. You have.
I mean, you can.
Yeah. I mean, if you were going to lose that game, just save the $20 million, spend it on some other stuff. So,
for sure. Yeah. Yeah. No, it was pretty crazy. What's happening when?
Is this somebody's birthday, or is that just the phrase off of like Dr. Seuss?
What's that? Oh, yeah. No, that's it's from Alice in Wonderland.
Okay.
It's the rabbit.
Ooh.
But yeah. Anyway. So I don't know. I am looking forward to the playoffs, though. That it's going to be good.
Yep.
Yeah, and
what's up, Trina? Roll Tide.
You're probably right.
Yeah. I feel like this was his last year anyway. And see, last year what he did was jettison his quarterback, and kind of put the blame on him. It's kind of like McCarthy with blaming the offensive coordinator and, stuff like that. Then you lose games like that. And nobody thought Will Howard was the answer, but I can't put the loss all on him. They actually could have passed more, but, anyway. Coaching was terrible.
I mean, they just didn't do anything particularly well. Like they just didn't look like they were engaged in that game.
Yeah.
So like they 100% deserved to lose that game. And the way they played, they would have lost to any average team.
Yep.
Right. It's nothing Michigan did. Like they would have lost that game to just about anybody.
Agreed.
But it was funny that, they go to plant the flag and then there's a big fight. And it's like, I mean, how do you not have this energy all game?
Yeah.
Because that's the only time it looked like you guys had fight at all.
Yep.
So,
it's just kind of one of that we expect to win walking out there. Like you just can't do that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, and I think that was probably Bama's first loss, right?
Oh, 1,000%.
It was just like, we're getting off the bus. We're Bama. We're going to win.
Yeah.
And it's like, you still
we
have
just beat Georgia.
Yeah, like you still have football to play.
Yeah. And it's like we said, man, you're not going to have a complete team because of the transfer portal, but you'll have key pieces. And sometimes just having a feisty quarterback will be enough. And that's what Vandy got, was a guy like that. And if they jump up on you, they wanted that win way more. Like I said, we were still coming off the high of beating Georgia, smoking whatever we were smoking, and just didn't, they outplayed us for the entire game.
I mean, you guys were 100% looking past.
Oh, definitely.
We
weren't looking past. We were still looking back. Hey, remember what we did against Georgia? You remember that game last week? Yeah, baby. We had the Kings,
All of a sudden you look up at the scoreboard, you're like, wait, what happened?
Yeah, basically. So.
Yeah. No, crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. And, if you're watching, be careful with sports betting because sometimes stuff like that can happen. But if you are into it, hit up this QR code right here on the screen. Bet us 125% of your first 3 deposits. And, of course, there is a 10% bet guarantee if you do happen to lose. Say you pick Bama in that Vandy game. So be smart about your picks. But bet right alongside us here on Coast to Coast. And, of course, or on Wednesday wrap-up, rather. And then, of course, if you're in the Pacific Northwest, True Fusion Gym. You can use the QR code on the screen, get a free 5-day pass. Man, it is early, I guess. Pilates, boot camp, yoga, bar, hot rooms, and more. Find your edge at True Fusion Gym.
We're going to get to it, Bo. We're going to get to it.
Man, it's been a little bit of a struggle today, but, it is what it is. My wife has been working hard to give me her cold, and I think it's finally starting to win. So at least it's a day where I have to be on camera for like 8 hours.
Yeah, it'll be great. I'm definitely tuning in as much as possible.
That's right. It's going smooth. It's going smooth. I like it. So definitely want to hit the top 10. And of course, we have a little bit of movement. I have to stop hating on the Vikings a little bit. I feel like I've been undervaluing where they've been and the product they put on the field, especially consider. I think I've been holding them back because I keep waiting for Darnold to be Darnold, right? And I mean, at this point,
he has been a little bit.
So he has, but like he's not playing at that, just shy of MVP type of stuff. Now he's playing
above average,
normal football, right? Like he's not playing the way he used to play, right? He still leaps and bounds of what we've seen from him in the past. Now he is that kind of, borderline top 10, right? Like he's that like 12th ranked quarterback, which is solid quarterback play. Right. And so your power rankings aren't a quarterback ranking, it's a team ranking, right? So I feel like they have to go up. KC, they continue to slide for me. They're winning. I get it. Right. But that offense isn't doing anything. Like they're winning because defense is doing stuff. And then, they end up with a couple of games that the refs help them out. They get a lucky blocked kick. Like there's things that make this team have a record that they're not playing up to. So I also have the Steelers and Ravens fade back a little bit. Broncos move up a spot. So not crazy movement outside of the Vikings probably getting the respect they deserve. But that's kind of where I have them for week 14.
Yeah. I mean, if you're the Chiefs, you beat the Panthers and the Raiders by a combined 5 points. Like that's just
right.
That's just not what we, I don't, it's like they play up or down to whoever, so it's like they could beat the Ravens by 3 and then lose, beat the Panthers by 3. Like that's kind of what their MO this year.
Well, and the only reason they're still at 5, because if I was being honest, like if I didn't look at the record, if I just look at how they're playing, I'd probably have them close to 10.
Yeah.
Right. But the record keeps them into that top 5 because you have to acknowledge the record exists. But when you're looking at quality of play, do I think they're a better team than the Steelers currently? No. Ravens, probably not. I mean, realistically, they could be the 10th spot of this list.
Yeah.
I mean, the Chargers gave them everything they could handle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and I think they would struggle with every single team on here. But if I was being honest, I'd put them at 4 just because I think the only teams that like I would trust to maybe beat them in a playoff game is the top 1, 2, and 3. And then with the Bills, they never beat them in the playoffs. So it's kind of like,
yeah,
do I trust that to happen again? You know what I mean? But I like the Lions' chances. And the Eagles are kind of like what the Ravens want to be. Like, hey, our defense is getting better. And no matter what the game script is, we're going to commit to the running game. And we've got a mobile quarterback. So, like, when the Eagles stick to that game plan and minimize the Sirianni effect, I think that they're a really, really tough team.
Yeah, no, they can hang with anybody for sure. And I mean, so the Vikings, I think, would give the Chiefs a problem because of their defense.
Right.
Right. So that's why I went ahead and moved them up. But, I mean, KC struggles with any of these teams.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I mean, KC has struggled with bad teams. So, I mean, but again, they still live up in that top 5 because they find a way to win.
Yeah.
I mean, so whether it's aided by the Zebras or, they just get a lucky break, they really embody the better lucky than good.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's real, I mean, you've got the best quarterback in the game in clutch situations. So they're just like, look, just keep it close. Okay. Don't let us get blown out and I'll handle something in the fourth quarter for you. And that's basically the whole game plan.
And when I also went 15-1 last week, it was,
I was nowhere close to that.
It was a bummer though, because the guy leading also went 15-1. So I still didn't gain any ground. At least on the leader. I did get back into the top 5 though. So small victories.
Yeah. My time in the top 5 came to an end. It's nice while it lasted.
Yeah, it's still a pretty tight race though. Still a pretty tight race. I think the top 6 are still within like 6 games of each other. Running out of time though. So I feel my 3-peat slipping away.
Who do we got to sabotage to get you back up there?
A few different people actually. I think. Well, Scott, who is leading, and his wife are both in the top 4, and then I think it's my wife at 2nd. So I feel like I might be in trouble. But that's okay. That's okay. Someone else can win. But that being said, still going to try. Because you play to win
the game. There you go.
I also picked the Ravens. Yeah.
Did I? I think I picked it. Nope. I was talked into the Eagles by an Eagles fan, I thought. So.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was.
And then still lost a whole bunch of other games. So it didn't really matter.
It was a coin flip, man. Like the Ravens Eagles, that one was the coin flip to me. I was like, it's going to be an amazing game. They play very similar brands of football. They both have coaches that like do dumb stuff for whatever reason. And but I gave the Ravens the edge because they were at home.
Right.
So I was like, okay, the Ravens could probably get this done. There's no way they forget to use Derrick Henry this week. And just for whatever reason, they couldn't get it done. So
yeah.
But,
listening to the Ravens guys are not happy. Listening to a couple of their podcasts, they're just like not happy with anybody on the team. So and it's funny, like you look at the yardage, Derrick Henry did run it 19 times, like 87 yards. Saquon got to like 23 rushes, but he had like an explosive play, like a 25-yarder that helped bump his up. But I was like, man, if you go look at like their fourth quarter, it'd be like Derrick Henry run for 10 yards and pass. And they had like one of their drives was like Derrick Henry, like 4 runs in a row, 2 first downs, and then like pass. And I'm like, okay, like and at that point it's a 2-point game. You're okay with. I think people just get bored with because somebody even posted we were getting 5 yards max on a run. Okay, but if you get 3-4 yards in a row, you're fine, and that's just handing the ball off. Then all of a sudden you do a play action or a Lamar Jackson RPO and he runs it. You're fine.
If you're getting 5 yards a clip, you just keep doing it.
Yes.
Like you can't stop it. And the best way to keep the other team from scoring, keep them on the sideline.
Yes.
Running the ball does that. It's crazy.
Yeah. And it's Derrick Henry. It's only a matter of time before he gets one loose in the fourth quarter. Like that's his MO. So,
well, especially if you're averaging 5 already, right?
Yeah.
Dudes are going to get tired of tackling that monster.
Because I think his average for the game was like 4.3. But like I said, I was reading the box score in the fourth, and it was like he had one negative run for minus 1 yards, and the rest were all like 4, 5, and 10. I was like, just keep doing that for a minute. Like I don't.
I mean, you need 3 1/3 to move the sticks.
Yes.
That's it. If you're getting over 4,
you're good.
This should be your game plan all day.
Yes.
Until they can stop that guy, then hey, you know what? It means they're crowding the box. It's open after that? Passing.
Yes.
It's weird. It's like football hasn't really changed that much.
At all. At all.
So since we're talking about running backs, I guess, do you think that the year that Henry and Barkley are having, you think that changes a little bit of the value of your running back? I mean, you have Barkley that is, both of them have a shot at the rushing title. Granted, extra game, whatever. But Barkley is, now that Lamar had kind of a rough game, is second in, percentage of winning the MVP.
Right. Which he should be.
Do you think that brings money back to those contracts?
Should it? Yes. Will it? No. Because it seems like the owners have taken a line on this and they've decided to pay the quarterbacks and pay the running backs and the wide receivers. Yeah. And they had to pick a position to devalue and they went with running backs. But you look at your top 3 rushing leader. I know he's way behind in third, but even Josh Jacobs is a guy who got cast off by another team and then thrown over there. So your top 3 running backs are all teams, that somebody else gave up on and decided not to invest in. Now, would they be doing as well with their current teams? Of course not. Like nobody thinks that the Titans, Giants, or Raiders should have kept these guys. But other teams invested in them. They're all paying dividends, and I think even Mixon, when he's healthy out there, has done well after leaving teams. So should they? Yes. Will the owners? No, because they're paying money to the other positions. But it is interesting that the Ravens and the Eagles have invested in that spot, and they're doing better than the team that invested in their quarterback and should invest in their wide receiver, who are atop the league in those positions.
Yep.
And, speaking of the Bengals, and
exactly,
they're terrible. So, if you have a good defense and a good running game, you can kind of get by with the other stuff, especially in the playoffs. You get up to a Buffalo with bad weather, you have a good running game, you're going to be okay. But if you're nothing but passing, you're going to be affected.
I think that's something that I don't know why teams seem to overlook this, but I feel like when they're assembling teams, they forget that playoff football is cold.
Yes.
It's in the winter.
Yes.
Some of these stadiums are outside with no roof. It's crazy. And so you have teams like Miami. They're like, oh, you know what? We're going to have all these race cars out there. Well, you know what? Race cars don't drive very far in the snow.
Yes. Yes. You can't have a finesse team at that time of year unless you are, the best team in the league and every game's going to be at home. Otherwise, you got to be ready for this stuff, like the Buffalo game this past weekend. Like, you got to be ready to play in that kind of weather. So that's why I said tough defense, tough running game, that will get you by. So that's why I think a team like the Eagles is really built for whatever comes next. Detroit, as much as you might think about how fast they play and how, what wide receivers out there, they have a great running back.
I didn't say they don't drive. I just say they don't go very far.
I think somebody doesn't like you talking about his Miami Dolphins. So
hey, we watched the Niners do the same thing. Those guys couldn't stay standing up. It was hilarious because, well, I'm a Seahawks fan and I was here for it.
Do they make one of your biggest disappointments of the year?
They did. Yeah. It's I didn't expect the drop off, right? Like, this was supposed to be their last best chance for the Super Bowl because they were bringing all their pieces back next year. Obviously, they have contract, things they got to work out. They have Purdy to pay. Having the year that he is might affect what he makes, but they're going to have to make a decision regardless. And so they should have been the team to beat in our division. And the way that it sits now, especially now that they're just riddled with injuries, they're falling apart. So, easily one of the biggest disappointments as far as teams this year, for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's tough to feel bad for a team that has so much going for them, So I'm like, yeah, I understand you got injuries, but you also have like star power at like every position. So it's like, I know C-Mac went down, but your second and third string running back were running great behind that line. So I can't really give you just that one. And you still have Debo. And
Mason just hit IR also.
Yeah, I saw that.
So
I was like, geez, y'all have anybody left on the team.
Exactly. And we watched the Rams do something similar, a couple of years ago.
Right.
Like they win the Super Bowl. They have to get rid of some players, but they still had like key guys. And then everybody got hurt. And you're just like, well, don't feel that bad for you.
Not at all.
So
not at all. But how bad is it to miss your one last best shot, felt like, because of injuries, and now you got to start paying people next year and maybe lose more people?
Well, and you also have the question of, does CMC come back, or do you even try and get him back? Do you try and move him? Right?
Didn't he sign an extension this offseason though, right? So it'd have to be moving, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you'd be trading anyway, right? Because they would need draft picks at this point. So, but do you start to move guys like that? You have decisions about Purdy, right? He's not having his best year ever. Granted, everybody's hurt, so every quarterback would struggle that way,
right.
With the exception of Baker Mayfield, apparently. But
I don't know how to explain that one.
Nobody out there.
Yeah. My two best wide receivers hurt. That's fine. I'm gonna hit the tight end. It's good.
Yeah, right.
This.
Like, it's cool.
Yeah.
I got one target. Awesome.
Yeah. I'll hit that guy. What's your name again? Hi, Baker. Nice to meet you. It's fine.
Yeah, that's right.
Go long. Gotcha.
Exactly. Just find an opening. I'll get it to you.
Yeah. I'm just gonna deck around back here for a couple minutes and then I'll get you.
I mean, they might still win their division somehow because Atlanta forgot how to play football.
We're halfway through the year. People are like, "Does Penix?" I mean, not half. We're deep in the year. People are like, "Does Penix get in there?"
Yes.
Like, we just signed this man to big money. Like, that was my bold prediction. That Penix is going to start a couple games at the end of the year. That was my bold prediction for Atlanta.
No, I felt you were right. I mean, it's Cousins, so like I can only ride with that guy so far.
Yeah.
Like, I know if you have him on your fantasy team, you're probably going to be all right. Him and Stafford. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you may not always win games if you're a fan of the team, but they're going to put up numbers for you, right? They're both those guys, 4,500 yards every year, like clockwork, 4,000, 4,500, no problem. going to have a good touchdown to interception rate. When it comes to wins, that may not come through.
Right.
So I figured Penix would get a shot at some point. I didn't expect Cousins to trail off the way he did. I thought he was just going to have some really bad games because that's what he does. But I mean, he's been non-existent the last few weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. Their only thing they're 4-1 in the division. So that's what's kind of saving them. But you've lost to the Saints, Broncos, Chargers. And I grant, okay, you have people like, all right, the Broncos and Chargers might both make the play. Okay, it's fine. But you're saying you can only beat teams that aren't making it. Now you got to go to the Vikings. Got the Commanders still. Like, even in the season with the Panthers, that's not even a gimme at this point for the way the Falcons are playing. So you could really end up being my second disappointment. I mean, you're the Falcons, but I did pick you to win the division.
I was going to say, are you that disappointed?
How about mildly inconvenienced?
Yeah. And they still don't use Bijan right.
No.
So, I haven't figured that one out either. Like, they're still doing we have him, we're going to load him up, and then next week they're like, oh, who's this Bijan guy? Yeah. Like, if you picked him up in fantasy, you have to be the most disappointed person because he'll put up some numbers and then the next week he'll get you like 2 points. He'll play the whole day.
Did they not look at what Zeke, right? You run these guys in the very beginning because you're not gonna, you just never know. But to your point, it's 26 carries this past weekend. The week before, 12 carries. And I realize they got blown out, so the script gets negative. But then the week 20, the 19, the 13, it's just depend on the day, Yeah,
but 13 doesn't get it done.
No.
Right?
No.
I mean, all of the Ravens' losses, less than 20 carries.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like the guys that make a ton of money that hang out in the booth up top should probably have an idea of, hey, you know what? When we do this more,
yes,
we win.
Yes. And
when we don't, we lose. I feel like people watching aren't the only ones that see that. Yeah. Or if they are, those guys should be fired. I'm available. I will come
just to make these decisions. Yeah. Well, I was talking to Raj about this the other day. Ashton Genty, the Boise State running back, his worst game this year, second worst game, was 128 yards. His worst game was 127 yards. He only ran 11 times in that game. They blew the team out. He didn't get rushes after. That's fine.
Yeah.
128 yards. You're like, wow, that's great. That was in their closest game against UNLV. They only won by 5. He carried the ball 33 times. So it's not like the rushes were working, but they said, you're our guy.
Yep.
So we're just going to keep feeding you until it works, especially when the game is close, Yeah. So I'm looking at this past weekend. He had 20 rushes, 116, but then Kirk Cousins throws the ball 39 times. Clearly, and you got 13 points. So clearly that was not the way that game needed to go. So maybe take a couple passes. You lost by 4. So if you throw the ball a little less and run Bijan Robinson a little more, the game's not going to get worse. I don't get these game scripts.
I mean, it puts your defense in a better spot because if you're throwing the ball that much and having no success, it means your defense been on the field a lot. So, I mean, at least if you're running a lot, you chew the clock up.
Agreed.
I don't know.
Agreed. I'm with you. So
that being said,
I don't know how they get away from it so easy.
Everybody seems to they don't want to use the running backs. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. Especially when you are going up against an offense that's really good.
Yep.
It's it's a really good offense. Let me just go 3 and out real quick and then be mad at the defense if they give up points. No, why don't we, even if we go 3 and out with a running play, you took 2 minutes off instead of, 30 seconds.
Yeah. Exactly.
So,
I'm with you.
Let everybody know where they can find you, man.
Herb and Raj, Raj_Herb on Twitter, and then the Herb and Raj podcast on YouTube. And Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Central Time is our live show.
All right. And of course, if you are watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. Helps us bring our content to you. If you're watching on Roku, be sure to stay tuned for the next hour. Other than that, we will see you all next week. Take it easy, everybody.
Introducing National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk programming that you can access 24/7. For the premier sports talk experience, tap into our Roku channel. Start your mornings with Mac and Jack covering all the weekend sports action. Then pour a cup and enjoy all the sports you can drink on the Coffee and Sports podcast. At midday, talk sports from east to west on the Coast to Coast podcast. Followed at night by some hot girl talk with Prim and Proper Sports featuring Sonia Pearson. Talk boxing on the Gloved Fist. Yankee fans tune in for Start Spreading the News. And there's more on the College Sports Huddle and Sports Scope with Robert Butler. There are 20 podcasts in all and 70 weekly shows giving us a 3.4-star viewer rating. To find us on Roku TV, search for National Streaming Sports on the Roku search bar. Click on the logo and you're in. National Streaming Sports, live